All right, we're back here on the DSP, and join with me someone I teased last week that would be joining us. Legendary artist who's been doing it for, over a decade now. His name is Illy. He's dropped an amazing project. It's out, The Space Between Us. Bro, how you feeling 5 days after the project released?
Good, man. Yeah, I'm really just relieved. I think it's going to still be a couple more weeks before it stops being in my head, this like active project, and it becomes like a historical piece of work for me. It was such a long time making it, and there was so much went into it that the process of kind of letting it go is taking a little bit longer. But I'm stoked, man. The response has been great, and yeah, you can't really ask for much more. If it's something you care about and you put it out there and people fuck with it as well, so I'm happy.
When we spoke last year, I said I gave you a bit of a grace period and we cut 2020 out of it. So it wasn't 4 years, it was 3 years. I feel like, was this like a really big way for you to show everyone your versatility again? The fact that you can do whatever you put your mind to?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think it definitely is the most there's the most different styles and sounds on this album than there's been compared to any of my other albums. So I did really push myself in that regard this time around. I think that shines through, I didn't set out to do that. It's just kind of where I'm at now as a songwriter and as an artist. And some people think that that's a weakness. I think it's one of my biggest strengths. I definitely think it's been a key to my longevity, is not being, just a rapper or just writing, lyrical miracle rap songs. It's, but yeah, I mean, I think you listen to this body of work and it is very varied. And I think that it is better off for that being the case,
Was it a conscious decision? You say, you're not just a rapper, and you've really shown that, but you did start off this album with waves and you started with bars to really remind people that you've still got them. Yeah.
I mean, that was a conscious decision. Like when there was a few different tracks, they weren't all like they all served the same purpose as Wave, but they didn't all sound sonically the same. But I knew that I wanted the first track to be that kind of barsy kind of song, just because people do forget in amongst, the more successful, the songs that have been played on radio or that have, done really well, like commercially, people get that fucked up and think that that's all I am. So I knew that out the gate, coming off the back of an album that had sort of my most successful songs commercially, I wanted to have a rap track. And yeah, Wave was probably the standout one. There was three, and the other two didn't make the cut, obviously. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, it was a conscious decision, and that's about, I knew that I wanted that one to be the opener, and I wanted Best Mistakes to be the closer, and everything else in the middle was kind of up in the air until the tracks were there.
Do you enjoy pissing off the critics, as you say in the song, like the rap critics that challenge you or doubt you? Is that like a thing in the back of your mind?
No, not, man. I mean, if it was, it would have like consumed me 10 years ago. Like I've been getting it since before I even had an album out, because even back in the day when I was putting out mixtapes, I had like melody on my raps and on my tracks that other people weren't doing. So no, it's not something that I'm like, it's not something that I'm bothered by. I'm used to it. I've always done my own thing. And like I said, man, like a lot of people that I came up with weren't as, willing to just sort of blaze their own trail and wanted to do the keep it real shit and were very sort of affected by what other people were saying, and they're not around anymore because they weren't able to adapt and they weren't able to sort of carve their own lane out. And that was never even a conscious thing. I just always was lucky that I had people in my corner and people supporting me who really encouraged me to just do my thing and do it if it's what I felt like doing, to trust my instinct. And man, that's kind of, it's where it's at. I'm not fazed by it. I never have been, and fuck them.
I feel like you're at a place in your sound as well, you know, and you speak about it in this song. You say, I still show improve with zero to prove. You know, how long into your career, because you are, you know, people do forget that you've been doing this for a decade. Like that is unheard of in rap, and especially in Australian hip hop. How long into your career did you really decide or feel like you didn't have anything to prove anymore?
Within the rap community and the hip hop community, it's been a while, man. And like, I'm sure there's some like heads that would be like, fuck this guy, and he's never proved himself to me. He's always been shit, and that's fine. I don't mind. But in my head, I feel like I probably proved myself by the time Cinematic came out. Mm-hmm. So what's that, 2013?
13, yeah.
I mean, even The Chase, man, like, you know, The Chase was turned 10 last October.
Crazy.
And like, yeah, it is crazy. But that, even when that came out, man,
that's
that was
crazy.
such a, yeah, at the time that came out though, man, that was so ahead of what most other artists were putting out. Like, it was advanced, man. I mean, it sounds dated now, but it's still like, there's still gems all through that, and there's spirit all through that, and life, and you can feel it. And like, that shit is, you know, it's, I don't know. I feel like even then I felt like I'd kind of proved what I was setting out to do. And from there on, it was just competing with myself, really.
Well, and I think if you can go back, and I did go back and I listened to a lot of your early stuff, and you can listen to it today with today's modern society and music, and you still, like you said, you get bars, you get gems, and you go, oh yeah, that works today. And that, I think, is, you know, a testament to your writing ability and your creativeness and your bars along the way.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, like, thank you firstly for the compliment. But I think the main thing that sticks out that kind of dates it is that I wasn't my voice hadn't fully developed as an artist. So like, my delivery is much more rough around the edges than it is now. I think everything, there's a charm to it because like it's before
raw.
Yeah, it's more raw, and it's more like just there's the rough around the edges-ness of it. And also on the production, you know, like there's some of Phase's best beats are from back in the day, but they're all, compared to what he's doing now, they're all, you know, there's a level of professionalism and execution that we just didn't have back then. But you know, that's in itself is like a good thing in some ways. You know, some people love that shit and hate my new shit. You know, it is what it is.
And I think if you listen to your new stuff that you have now, and you talk about that, I think you've gotten so much better at getting across the feeling. And that's what really stood out to me on this project as a whole, is what you're talking about. You can hear where it's coming from. You can hear the feeling that you went through when you were, you know, going through that part of the life. So I think that, you know, you can say, you know, and you go back and you listen to the old stuff and you can hear bars and whatever. But I think that your growth in this project is the best that I've seen you ever put out, for sure.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's 4 years between drinks. A lot of life happens in 4 years. And again, I feel like I'm at the peak of my powers as far as me as an artist. Like, exactly like you say, man, like I've been in it long enough to be able to improve for a long time. And like that, being able to convey what I'm trying to say and add nuance, and like, again, not focus on trying to be technically great, it's never been my focus. I've never really cared about being that kind of rapper. I was always more about the vibe, and then always more about the emotion, if you can put that in a song. And particularly not the rap writing, but the writing hooks and the more songwriting aspects that aren't as rap heavy. Those are the things that I've really worked on over the last few albums, because I think you can more effectively convey emotion if you're able to really lock that shit down and master that side of things. So I feel like I've developed a lot in that respect, and I hope that it shows through, because I think it does on this album.
Track 2, you know, I think one that really does show through is Loose Ends with G Flip. We spoke about this last year, so I won't take too much time on it. But I have seen, you mentioned on social media the fact that this song should have been a smash. And I 100% agree with you that this song is one of the best songs that came out in 2020. Does it get tiring for you to produce these bodies of these pieces of music and then them not get the attention they deserve?
I mean, I've been pretty fortunate, man, that like I've had a pretty good run, so I can't I can't get too mad about it. I mean, I said that half tongue in cheek, but like I really do believe it should have been. I don't know if enough people have heard it. I'm not sure how it didn't, but I think it's one of the best songs I've ever written. And it's just how it goes. Like I'm not beat up about it. I spent a little while last year just like, how the fuck, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
But man, like you take your lumps when you get them and you take your wins when you get them. And as long as you kind of just keep moving, there'll be more songs. There always is. I'm not planning on retiring. This wasn't my swan song of an album, like we'll go again, So it's all good.
I feel like this song and then also Then What, they both kind of touch on that similar concept of, knowing when to let go in relationships, and things don't always have those closed doors and the finalization of like what you want. Have you gotten better along the way with, either probably personal, but also professional relationships? And when, people make that decision that they're not getting from you what they need, they close the door. Have you gotten better at adjusting and letting go of those things and not letting it kind of affect you?
Yeah. I mean, it's never easy. It's always a learning process, and always like, when people let you down, it always stings. I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's been relationships that have sort of broken or that have sort of gone separate ways a lot throughout the last 4 years, and it's talked about on the space between. But I don't know, man. Like I think I feel like I'm a more mature person in general, and that probably means that I'm able to process things in a more mature way.
Yeah.
I don't think that. Yeah, I'm a pretty emotional person, and I think when someone lets me down, I don't react very well. But I'm just, I'm not a kid anymore, so I'm not going to throw my toys out the pram and lose my shit. I'm more grown than that, and also I guess I've been the shit one in relationships and in friendships as well. So like, you can't be too hypocritical. If you're the person if you've hurt someone else, then you can't want them to treat you one way, and then when something happens to you completely fly off the handle. So I guess, but that perspective only comes with experience and just living, man. So I'm just old, I guess.
We're the same age, so don't say old, mate. Otherwise, I'm going to feel old over here.
I'm not, man. Young at heart, bro.
Track 3, the one you linked up with Carla Wiebe. I love her, and I've been, on her for a little while. It's called No Feelings. You talk about we can love the feeling, but have no feelings.
Yeah.
Is that possible? I always have tried to do that, but it just doesn't work. Are you all right? Good at that?
I mean, yeah, I think I am, man. The whole idea behind it is a conversation I had with a girl in Scandinavia in like early 2018 when I was like over there for writing sessions, and just met her out, and we just like, end up like hanging out, and just during us talking, she was like, we just got on the subject of, how people judge short-lived relationships in a really negative way. And it doesn't need to be like that. And I think that, like, as a society, we do look at that in a really, we attach less value to that. But if both people are going in with their eyes open, no one's getting hurt.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. And like, obviously sometimes people are playing down how much they're into it. And so there is a chance that people are getting, hurt, and without the other person knowing. But if you're like honest about it and both people are cool with it, then yeah, I do. I've definitely had like short things with people who I'm still friends with, and it's all love. And it's like, we were both upfront and honest about where we were at going into it. And, you know, that's all you can do. I don't know. Like, I think that it is definitely possible. Yeah. As long as you're like dealing with it as like grown-ups and, you know,
open and honest. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk track 4, Codes. Let's talk cheat codes. Was there a time that what I'm getting from this song that you've kind of felt invincible, that you were doing things as if you were invincible? Was that the mentality behind this track?
Yeah, man. And it was also like, so this was kind of in the aftermath of 2 Degrees, when everything was kind of flying and there was going all over the place and shows constantly and everything was just win, 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 win. And, you know, there's a lot of new people around and you're just going out and partying way too hard and just being around a bunch of people. And then kind of realizing after a while, like, that you're just caught up in this shit and it's fun. It's all fun, but it's just people that maybe don't have your best interests at heart, but that just aren't good friends. And you just kind of become aware of it, but you're just like, fuck it, I'm having fun, so I'm going to keep going. And it's before the crash and the come down and everything, when you're just like in it and feeling invincible, like you say, and just wanting to fucking just go hard. And that's kind of what Codes is about. And it's kind of like looking at everything, and it's when you realize that most of this shit that I'm doing is kind of hollow. There's not much substance to it, but I don't care. I'm just going to have a good time.
When did you decide you were going to put the GTA 5 cheat code in the lyrics?
The day that we wrote, like the day the song was written, that was in there. Yeah. Cause it was like, just feeling.
How do you even decide that you're going to put a cheat code in like that? Like, that shows me, like, that's tough to do. That's tough to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to have style, bro.
You can do it.
There's no multi-syllable rhymes to it, man. It's just the X.
Just right X L L R1 triangle.
Yeah. Just rhyme things with left. I mean, what is it? Right, left, up R1, right, left, X triangle, bless. So it's left, X, bless. None of those words rhyme. But if you have enough style, it sounds cool.
You made it work, bro. You made it work. And I think that, you know, I love when artists do little things like that really make you have to do your research to understand exactly what they are talking about. So props to you for doing that. That's an OG kind of way. Let's talk about track 5, which is one of my favorites. I feel like it's a true breakup song, the one with Rabel, Mirrors. Is this song for you about telling someone else to look in the mirror, or for yourself to have a look in the mirror?
Both. I mean, it's kind of in the aftermath, like the immediate aftermath of a breakup, whereas Loose Ends is looking back, you know, with the perspective of a lot, in hindsight, with a lot of time between it. I feel like Mirror is kind of the accompanying track to Loose Ends, but from the immediate aftermath, when there's still like a lot of raw nerves and raw emotion and a lot of hurt, and people are sort of in their corner and unwilling to budge an inch. And, you know, I've been on both sides of that divide, and the one scorned and the one doing the breaking up. And yeah, man, I mean, it's just that's what it's about, you know.
I loved the line, I wish that you could remember when you asked me what it takes to get this far. I feel like that was a real, it's so honest. I feel like that's out of a conversation of you talking about how do you become successful at being an artist.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's open to whatever people want to take from any of my songs, you know, like I love the interpretation that people have. And with songs like that, where it's about, you know, relationships or more deeper than surface level stuff, it's open to interpretation, man. So that's sick.
Let's talk Race to the Bottom. Feel like this one, super deep, super personal. How do you deal with, you know, the thought of, I guess, you know, you want to hide yourself away sometimes so that you can have your own thoughts and be away from what hurts, but then your thoughts are the things that hurt you.
It's taken a little bit of time, and again, it goes back to the Codes thing of just going too hard, doing too much, spreading myself too thin, and investing too much expectation and energy in people that are going to let you down. So a lot of sort of cleaning house as far as like with your friendship circles and the people you're close with. And then also like there's some personal responsibility, man. Like you've got to take care of yourself. And I wasn't for a while, and it really took its toll. Like the codes thing is when you're on top of the world, but that shit doesn't last. And you race to the bottom is when it's broken down. And yeah, man, I mean, it you know, between, you know, writing about it and then speaking to, you know, professionals and then making some changes in my life. And, you know, you have to take some ownership of your problems and get on top of it. You know, it's not, if it's self-inflicted, which in my case, a lot of it was, then you have to have some ownership of it if you're going to fix it. And, you know, that's what I did, you know. So like, I'm more comfortable in my own space with myself now than I was when I was in the headspace where I wrote Race to the Bottom.
And I think that you get that, and I appreciate you taking us on this journey, and you really feel it as you're going through, and you can kind of get those nuances. And then you get to, you know, track 13, The Space Between Us, the title track. This is like a celebration. I felt like 100%. This was the moment the album went at its, you know, back up. How important was this song for you, you know, having on the project? I
mean, it was huge, man. Every title track on every album I've done kind of sums up where I'm at in my life. And this one, you know, for all the highs and the lows and, you know, all the turbulence and all the really bad dark points, getting through it all and getting to this point and then looking back, you know, I really had this sort of overwhelming sense of just gratitude that I have this life. And, you know, it's not luck. Like I've put a lot in to get this, but I'm still incredibly aware of just how, you know, how blessed I am. I hate the term blessed, but like I am really grateful for this. Yeah. And I wanted to convey that in the song. And yeah, I love 2 Degrees. I love cinema. I mean, I love all the title tracks. Yeah. But I think this one might be my favorite because it really is taking stock and, you know, sort of drawing a line in the sand that this is who I've been, but there's a lot more to come. And the line in the sand on the side that's in the past, that's all good, but I've got through it to get here, and now let's make some new shit. You know what I mean? And I just love the sentiment of it.
Well, man, I appreciate, you know, your honesty on this album. I'm not going to ask you what's to come next because I feel like you've put in so much time, and you really should be given the time to really bask in the glory of this project, bro.
I appreciate that, Dustin, man. And there'll definitely be more shit coming, but I'm taking a month off.
Good for you, man. Appreciate you've always got a home here on the DSP, and we're going to go crazy with this whole album over the next few months for sure.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man.